Hello again. Welcome back inside the Tier 4 studio here in Morgantown, West Virginia. For the Charleston Gazette-Mail, I am Mike Casazza. It's Tuesday. That means it is time for the most anticipated, most popular, most divisive preview video blog conducted by a newspaper person in West Virginia. It is exclusive company that I'm proud to be a part of. We're not going to talk about the first 3 weeks. We're not here to talk about the past, but I will point out that last week's edition was accurate. And a good thing that somebody was accurate for the Oklahoma game, because I wondered, was West Virginia too lucky in the first 3 games? And the answer from me that day was yes. The answer Saturday on the field in Norman, Oklahoma was also yes. All the breaks that had gone West Virginia's way those first 3 games in 4 weeks were not present against the Sooners. They recovered the fumbles this time, not West Virginia. West Virginia bobbled the passes that turned into interceptions for the other team. Poor decisions, poor execution on special teams. Oklahoma's was much better, and the kicker made all of his field goals. A lot of little things you could look at and just say, wow, it wasn't like that in the first 3 games, and it was like that Saturday. And ultimately, that did contribute to the outcome somewhat. Whether it was making dumb decisions to commit penalties or officials not seeing penalties, Oklahoma being able to tightrope the sideline to maintain possession on key catches and extend drives, just things like that. You were on the other side of it for the first time this season. Doesn't mean it will always be that way. Luck does tend to even out, but lucky teams remain lucky. West Virginia needs that rabbit's foot back in its pocket because this is just the beginning of a pretty tough 4-game stretch, and that transitions me to today's question. This is not necessarily a is it a must-win question, because every game is a must-win. You'll be beat over the head with a lot of coach-speaking cliche about you have to win the next one, and this is the most important one because it's the next one on the schedule. Whatever. The question is this, though. Is this Dana Holgorsen's biggest game Saturday as West Virginia's football coach? I could argue yes, I could argue no. I will choose the former, not because it is next and it's just the second one in this 4-game stretch against ranked teams, but because of a big picture take on things. If you think West Virginia is going far this season, 8 wins, 9 wins, 10 wins, how do you get there without winning at home in a night game as a favorite against a team that has some offensive shortcomings when you have a defense that can really make offenses' lives miserable? Similarly, how do you get out of this stretch in October, the 4 straight ranked teams, with even a split if you don't win Saturday? Saturday is an easy one if you look at what follows. Saturday is not easy, though, because Oklahoma State knows what it's doing on offense. It also knows what West Virginia is doing on offense. This will be a little bit more equal than maybe what we have experienced in the past when there's been a disparity between these 2 teams on the scoreboard and on the field. This one feels a little bit closer, but a win does help West Virginia quite a bit. 4-1 feels better, especially as the team packs up and goes to Baylor, that it knows it beat last year and wants to get revenge for what happened 2 seasons ago. But Baylor wants revenge, too, for what happened last year and wants to repeat what happened 2 years ago. West Virginia's plight is a little bit easier with momentum from a win. Whatever happens Saturday and the week after maybe doesn't necessarily, automatically I should say, impact the game 10 days later at TCU, but West Virginia knows it's been right there with TCU. It's certainly possible to go there and win one with extra preparation. TCU is not exactly the picture of health, although it is improving. But before you ever get ahead of yourselves there and wonder what variables, what momentum, what determination the team could bring into those 2 road trips into Texas, it all spirals back to Saturday. A win for West Virginia facilitates those trips, makes things easier. A loss, all of a sudden 3-0 seems a little bit further away, and then 3-4 seems pretty near, doesn't it? So it's a time for West Virginia to erase some doubts, or at least put them on the shelf by just returning to winning form on Saturday. If not, the conversation heats up. You really wonder where the season's going, and you think to yourself, how can West Virginia find and capitalize the chances to make a statement like it does have Saturday night? You're not going to have any more night games at home unless all of a sudden one of these networks gets crazy and wants to see West Virginia against either Texas Tech, Texas, or Kansas at night. Will West Virginia be a favorite in any more of these big-time games that it has to win? And I'm looking basically in the direction of Oklahoma State, Baylor, TCU, maybe even Kansas State. Probably not. Especially if they lose these couple of games. That makes it harder to project toward the end of the schedule with Kansas State. But just for the full faith of his roster and the people in the stands, he kind of has to win Saturday, right? If he does, great momentum. It makes these next 2 games, which are difficult, markedly easier. If it's a loss, it makes these two hard games a little bit more challenging. Time will tell us the answer to the question. For now, I think it's obviously a pretty important game. West Virginia wants to go places. I don't know if it can drag itself there if it's carrying a 2-game losing streak with it. That's it for this time. I'll see you next time. For the Charleston Gazette-Mail, I'm Mike Casazza.